Most people miss the biggest financial milestones of their lives, and it costs them years of financial freedom. Are you on track, or are you setting yourself up for? In this video, I'm going to reveal number one, the most important financial freedom goals for your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. Number two, the exact steps to hit these milestones, no matter where you're starting. Number three, the consequences of missing these goals and how to get back on track. Let's build your roadmap to financial freedom decade by decade. Let's start with your 20s and building a foundation. You want to start with an emergency fund of somewhere between $500 and $1,000, then build up to 3 to 6 months of living expenses. This is your safety net. Throws you a curveball. And if you start this safety net early and invest it, it can just reinvest in like a bond fund or a money market account and just reinvest interest. In today's markets are like 4%. They're usually pretty competitive interest. Then that emergency fund will never have to be added to unless you greatly increase your living expenses. But at least it'll be growing. And then when you have to take some money out, you add back to it. And that never really becomes a huge issue as you age, based on your living expenses. Debt management, pay off high interest debt, especially credit cards, and make a plan for student loans if you have those. And then also you've got car debt's a little better than the credit card debt because you're using it to create an income most likely. College debt, that would be the one you want to address later. But anything like credit card debt, furniture debt, those type of debts you would want to address first, anything high interest. And Dave Ramsey talks about the debt snowball idea. And I really like that for all people when they're retiring debt. Then you want to start investing. You want to open a 401k or IRA or even just a small account and then capture your employer match. Time is your biggest advantage in your 20s. You have a huge advantage over those in their 60s. You can save $100 this year in your 20s and it'll be thousands in your 60s. So keep that in mind. Don't fret about being in your 20s. Be happy about it that you can start these habits now. Build credit. You want to get a credit card, use it wisely, and pay it off every month. Good credit opens doors later. Now, I say this, in the Bible, we're taught to let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. And the Bible also says that the borrower is slave to the lender. So you do want to be careful with debt. However, to be realistic in today's world, if you want to buy a house, you're probably going to want to put some money down in your 30s. The average home buyer right now is around 37 years of age. So I do think you want to have good credit. And also, you might want to buy a business later on. And they're going to look at your credit as well. And even buying a car. So unless you can pay cash, you can probably pay cash for a car. But a home and a business, you're going to be saving a long time if you want to buy either one of those with cash. And then you have budgeting, and this is arguably the most important one. And you want to use that 50-30-20 rule. I've made videos about it before. You want to devote 50% of your income to needs. We're talking water, mortgages, rents, insurance, like health insurance, gas, electric, food. And then 30% on your wants. 20% goes to savings or debt or tithing to charities or your church. Not 20 of that 20%. It goes to savings, debt, and giving. Automate your savings so you don't have to think about it. And if you get that 50-30-20 rule set in your 20s, you're unstoppable. You will be in good financial shape where you can focus on other things in life as you go through your life. But you'll have to make spending decisions based on what kind of rent you're going to have. You might have to start out in a one-bedroom type scenario, even if you're married, to get to that 50% needs based on what your income is. Now, that's a tough one, but if you start out and that's already what you're used to, then as you get older and your income goes up or you receive inheritances or whatever, then your expectations are going to only be met easily by upgrading your lifestyle, if you so choose to do that. So the key point for your 20s is the habits you build in your 20s set the stage for everything that comes next. Your 30s, you want to grow and protect. Home ownership, if it fits your goals, and it may not. You want to save 10 to 20% for a down payment. If you save 20% for a down payment, you won't have any PMI. You want to make sure your total housing costs stay under 30% of your income. Another great rule of thumb when you're buying a home here in your 30s is that what you want to do is buy a home that's really, depending on where you live, not much more than 2 times your income. Now, 3, somewhere between 2 and 3. I wouldn't go above 3. And that gets it. Now, if you're talking about San Francisco, maybe Boston and some of these other expensive places, Hawaii, Maine, some of these expensive places, if you have to go above 3, it is going to hurt your finances though, if you have to do that. But you really want to keep it between 2 and 3. So if you make $100,000 a year, you want to look at homes, condos, around 200 to 300,000. It's just that simple. Number two, you want to maximize your retirement savings. You want to aim to save at least 15% of your income. Increase the 401k or IRA contributions as your salary grows. And that again goes back to that home buying decision. In the book, The Millionaire Next Door, the thing that dictated whether or not they became millionaires was the neighborhood that they lived in. You do not want to be one of the poor people in your neighborhood. You want to be one of the wealthier people in your neighborhood. If you live in a neighborhood where the homes are $500,000, your income should be $250,000 or $200,000, maybe the lowest. So keep that in mind, and it'll help you to be able to achieve these other goals of saving. Invest for growth. You want to keep a growth-oriented portfolio. You might not want to use a bunch of bonds, some growth-oriented ideas, global stocks, that includes US and foreign stocks, low-cost ETFs, gold, utility stocks, and even some of those private credit funds are all growth-oriented. There's a lack of correlation there, and don't forget your cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and there's ETFs for Bitcoin as well now. Insurance, you got to get your health. You want to get your life insurance, 5 to 10 times your income. If you're married and you have dependents, it's going to be 5 to 10 times your income. And then disability insurance, that's up to you. The disability insurance is not a must-have, but certainly if you build that in early on in your 30s, it's great to have. I did have a relative that was injured his hand. He couldn't work anymore, and he received this tax-free disability policy until he died. So I've seen it be very helpful to people's situations before. However, that is lower on the totem pole than some of these other things I've mentioned in your 30s. And then finally, this last one is too, for family planning, start a 529 plan for your kids' college if you have children. Update your will and beneficiaries. That is not as important as the other items that we discussed before that. Key point, your 30s are about building wealth and protecting what you've started. Now we're going to get into our 40s and 50s, and that's the decades where I'm located. These are your peak earning years. You want to max out your retirement accounts. If you're 50 plus, you want to use catch-up contributions. Retirement benchmarks. By 40, aim for 3 times your average, 3 times your salary saved. By 50, 6 times. So if you make $100,000 a year and you're 50, you want to have about $600,000 saved up. By 55, you want to be between 7 to 10 times of what your annual salary is saved up. And that could be in the value of your business as well. And that does not include home equity. I'm talking about investable assets or your business, things that you can sell. And by the way, you won't be able to sell your business unless you keep excellent financials and pay as much taxes as you can, but that's a whole nother discussion. Diversify your income. You want to add passive income streams, real estate, side businesses, or dividend stocks. And then we get into college funding. You want to prioritize your retirement, but use 529 plans for college savings if possible. Some states will allow you to deduct what money you put into a 529 from your state income tax return and make an adjustment to how they calculate your adjusted gross income. Estate planning. You definitely do want to have a will, a power of attorney, and a healthcare directive. They're not that expensive. We do those for our clients, and we can do one for you as well. You want to update your beneficiaries regularly on this. So I say once every 5 years. I think that's fine if you're in good health. And then tax optimization. You want to use a mix of tax-deferred, Roth, and taxable accounts, and you'll want to work with a financial advisor to help minimize your taxes as you're deciding which of these accounts to set up. Key point, these are your power years. Maximize your savings, protect your assets, and plan for the future. And now we're going to talk about 60s and beyond. This is possibly retirement transition. And now, of course, in the Bible, we don't talk about or mention retirement. So it's a word, though, that we use. And retirement means just when you stop working at a job full-time to earn an income. You can do other things full-time. Maybe you're going to work on your health, or you're going to volunteer to serve in your community or be more active at your church. You're not going to sit around and do nothing. You're going to retire from a job. You're not going to retire from serving your God or serving other people. So I want to be very clear about that. But as you are above the age of 60, you want to set your retirement date 1 to 2 years in advance. Review all benefits and create a post-retirement budget. As far as your Social Security goes, you want to decide when to claim. Waiting until 70 increases your monthly benefit greatly. A lot of people have good intentions about retiring at 62, and then they say, I'm going to save all of it. And we all know what the road to hell was paved with, good intentions. Read the book Atomic Habits before you decide you're going to retire at 62 and just take the income and invest it into whatever you're going to invest it in. You're going to invest every penny of it. Okay, keep that in mind. Waiting until 70 is the safest way to go. And people always ask, what if I die at 65 and I don't get any money? From the government. Well, from the government. Was it all that bad? Is that all that bad that you missed out on 3 years or 5 years of payments from the government? That'll go to someone else. That'll be helpful in some other way. The main thing you don't want to do is run out of money in retirement or have an uncomfortable retirement or go back to work most of the time. And so we're worried about what's best for you and your longevity. What if you live to be 80 plus? Because that's the break even for waiting until you're 70. What if you live to be 85 and now you're talking tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars that you missed out on because you were so eager to take it at 62. Healthcare. And I know there's a bunch of videos out there saying take it at 62. You can find anything you want to hear. You can find videos where drinking three glasses of vodka a day is good for you. So I wouldn't do it by another video that you can find. I can find anything. I can go in and find anything I want to hear about religion. You could probably find a video from someone at a church saying that it's healthy and a good idea to look at pornography or something. There's just no telling, or steal money from people. Who knows? Healthcare, you want to enroll in Medicare at 65, choose supplemental plans and review long-term care options. And estate and legacy, you want to finalize your wills, trust, and beneficiary designations, communicate your wishes to all your family, and then your withdrawal strategy. Create a plan to draw down your savings. Typically, it's going to be based on what your needs are, how long you want to plan to live, which is very hard to do because only God knows your last day. But all of these things, and you can start required minimum distributions at age 73. All of these things that we're talking about, 60 and beyond, all these things are helpful if you have a financial advisor, a certified financial planner with at least 10 years of experience. I like fee only as well. And so keep in mind, for 60s and beyonds, it's about making your money last, protecting your legacy, and enjoying the freedom you've earned. And there are a lot of professionals in this country that can help you do that. If you want a personalized roadmap to financial freedom, just click on the link in the description and you can set up a free, no cost, no obligation call with me, and we will talk about exactly how much you need to retire. We will talk about exactly what you should be doing in your phase of life and what I've been doing with other clients and seen them be successful over the past 25 years. Don't leave your future to chance. Start hitting these milestones today, and you'll be amazed how quickly financial freedom becomes your reality. Every decade brings new opportunities. The sooner you start, the easier it gets. Let's make your financial freedom inevitable. I'm Tommy Cloud with Sudden Wealth Stewardship, and I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe to my channel. And also just make any comments that you have down there, videos that you might want to see or questions you have, and I'll respond to those as well. We'll see you on the next one.